I'm Helder Paulini, eMobility Solution Architect at Schneider Electric. In this video, I'll guide you through commissioning EcoStruxure EV Charging Expert, our smart load management system designed to optimize EV charging and protect your electrical infrastructure. We will create one dynamic zone for the main switchboard rated to 500 amps and monitored by a PM5320 energy meter. Then we'll create one static zone for the EV distribution board rated to 250 amps. We'll then add two EV-Link Pro AC chargers under the EV distribution board. Each device must have a unique IP address and be connected to an Ethernet switch using Cat6 cables. EcoStruxure EV Charging Expert comes with default IP address of 192.168.0.128. Therefore, I have decided to maintain this subnet across all other devices on the network. Subnet mask will be 255.255.255.0. My laptop is configured for a static IP address of 192.168.0.199. The PM5320 meter is configured for a static IP address of 192.168.0.100. The 4G modem is configured for an IP address of 192.168.0.1, which is going to be the gateway IP address. Each EV-Link Pro AC charger will receive an IP address from DHCP server, which is the 4G modem. Let's start by opening our preferred internet browser. Then type 192.168.0.128, which is going to lead us to this initial page of EV Charging Expert. You'll find three options. You can either update firmware, start a new configuration, or import an existing configuration file. You can check the latest firmware on se.com, download the latest firmware, and upload from here. On this instance, version 6.6.6 is our latest, so I'm going to move on to start a new configuration. You'll be prompted to follow 9 steps, going from setting up credentials, to network, to remote supervision, to energy management, stations, power meter, zones, station assignment, and authentication. So let's start with the credentials. We're going to create one administrator and one first user. Create the password. Now, be sure to securely store these credentials. If you miss these credentials, you need to reset EV Charging Expert back to factory settings and restart again. I'll create a first user account. I'll call user. I'll create a password. And I'm going to click Save and Next. Now the accounts have been created. We're going to go into step number 2, which is networks. Over here we can give a name to our project. I'll call it VCE Demo. I'm going to disable DHCP client and maintain the IP address 192.168.0.128 for EV Charging Expert. I'm also going to be sure that the default gateway is the same as our 4G modem, 192.168.0.1. Then I'm going to click Save and Restart. During the commissioning process, EVCE restarts a couple of times. From this point onwards, every restart, you need to enter your admin credentials. So now we have to enter the administrator credentials that we've created on the previous step and logging into EV Charging Expert. Now, we have jumped from step 1 into step 3. Step 2 is about remote supervision. I did that on purpose. I'd like to set remote supervision, which is the connection to a charge point operator, at the end. So first we're going to commission having EVCE as the supervisor for the chargers, and later on connect all the chargers to a charge point operator. On step 3, we're just going to set date and time and location. So look for your location. I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and I'm going to sync with my laptop, and I'm going to click Save and Next. Step number 4, energy management. Typically, you don't need to change any settings on this step. These settings concern load shedding and some of the strategies used by the algorithm. If there is any specific reason to change any of these settings, please consult with Schneider and our user guide. I'm going to click Save and Next. EV Charging Expert is restarting again. Let's log in again using our administrator credentials. And now we are on step 5. Step 5 is where we discover the charging stations connected to the network. So I'm going to click Discover Stations, and EV Charging Expert is going to locate the EV-Link signature on the network. 2 stations have been found. If for any reason you find an error instead of new station, please reset to factory defaults your charger and perform a discover again. Now it's the time to tick the boxes to onboard the charging stations and provide name, phase rotation, and box identity. So I'm going to change this name for station 01. Box identity will be just the serial number, typical procedure. And in terms of phase rotation, this charger is on phase 1, which is mono 1. That's the red phase. If the charger is connected to the white phase, is mono 2. If it's connected to the blue phase, is mono 3. Second charger, I'm going to name it as station 02. I'll leave it phase rotation as mono 2 for the white phase, and I'm going to change the box identity, deleting the Pro EC bit and leaving just the serial number. Keep in mind that these serial numbers will be the unique box identity used by a charge point operator to connect with the charger. Once you have entered the proper details, you can click Install Selected. Right now, EV Charging Expert is configuring both chargers with the new name, phase rotation, and box identity. We'll wait until a message pops up to inform that installation has been successful. During this process, the charging stations will reboot, and we can continue the commissioning of EV Charging Expert. So we're going to click Next. We are now on step 6, power meters. So we're going to create one power meter to be used in our main switchboard. Now, I can select from a drop-down list and pick one of the Schneider power meters, from a PM5320 to an IEM to a power tag, and even our smart breakers. You can also create third-party meters and define a power meter model. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm using a single-phase setup. I'm going to create a special meter capable of working in single phase. I'm going to import this configuration. And use my PM5320 test. Back to manage power meters. I'm going to add a power meter. I'm going to call main switchboard PM5320. I'm going to select from the drop-down box my special meter. Again, this is because I'm working on a single-phase setup. On a three-phase setup, you can go straight to the PM5320 over here. I have to tell what IP address is the meter on. If you remember from the first screen, we have the power meter on 192.168.0.100. You don't have to change the port or the slave ID. Simply click Save and observe the status. You should see a green tick that indicates we are connected to the power meter, and you should have now readings on the current and energy. So there is only one meter in our project. We can move on to the next step. For the next step, we're going to create the zones. So first, we're going to create the main switchboard. I'm going to call MSB. Our main switchboard is rated for 500 amps. And it's measured by a power meter, which is the MSB PM5320 that we created on the previous step. I'm going to save. And now I need to create an EV distribution board. Now, to create an EV distribution board under the main switchboard, I'm going to use this little plus on the left. And below the MSB, I'm going to create a EV DB. The EV distribution board is rated for 250 amps. Now there is no meter left, so the EVDB becomes a static zone. I'm going to save. And step number 7 is done. We're going to click Save and Next. Now we need to assign the stations to the zones. So there is one zone where both the stations should be on, which is the EV distribution board. So I can move them straight to the EVDB. Let's go next step, which is authentication. So because we don't have a charge point operator right now, EV Charging Expert can control authentication through RFID badges. We're going to create a default group, and we're going to assign our 2 stations for the default group. Click Save and Next. The final step is to add the RFID cards. Now there are 2 ways to add RFID cards. You can either import a CSV file containing a list of the cards, or you can actually add the cards manually by tapping them one at a time, choosing one charger as a reader. So I'm going to do both. I'm going to add an RFID card by itself. I'm going to tap the card in one of the 2 chargers for a couple of seconds until the light flashes orange. The card won't appear automatically. If you click Previous and move on again to step number 10, we're going to see our card on the screen. We can now authorize, provide a name, and a comment. I'm also going to import a list of RFID badges from a file. And I can finish by providing a name to my first badge. I'll call that badge 06. I can authorize that badge, and I can send all my badges to my default group. And we have finished with the commissioning of EV Charging Expert. We are now presented with the dashboard. We can expand the main switchboard, and we can expand the EV distribution board and see our chargers under the EVDB. If you click on the name main switchboard, you can see the current repartition, and you can see the zone consumption, which is measured by the PM5320 meter. If I click on the EVDB name, I can see the current repartition for the EV distribution board. And if I want to test it, I can tap one of the badges and use a EV tester to simulate an electric vehicle communicating with the charger. At the bottom of the screen, we can see the first transaction happening from the commissioning date, which is transaction ID 1. The station used is station 01. The RFID card produced to authorize the charging transaction. It's charging from a single phase using phase 1, which is the red phase. Date, duration, energy consumption, set point, and vehicle consumption. The status is now showing charging, and the dashboard is showing that one charger is in charging mode while the second charger is available. I can stop this transaction from the tester. And now I should have both chargers in available state. Next step is to show the integration to a charge point operator. I'm going to use NAV as a CPO to control both chargers. So in that case, we go to admin, we go into configuration, and we go into remote supervision. We're going to move from a local control, which is the EV Charging Expert, to a unique charge point operator. And we're going to enter the URL address for NAV. I'm going to copy and paste NAV's URL address into this field. And I'm going to test the connection with NAV by clicking on the test connection button. We are looking for a green banner to come up on the top, informing that the test connection is successful. We don't need to change any other settings, and basically click save. And now both chargers will be under NAV's supervision. If we go back to charging station's dashboard, expand the main switchboard, expand the VDB, you can see that both chargers got a green tick, indicating that they were accepted by NAV as a charge point operator controlling the chargers. The RFID management tab disappeared, because the EV Charging Expert is no longer controlling RFID. It's now up to the charge point operator to control authentication. Thanks for watching. If you'd like more tips or resources on EcoStruxure EV Charging Expert, you'll find useful links in the caption.